On this episode, this badass chick stops by.
I'm taking over on the Ask Jason Show.
This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show. Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is episode, I just spit everywhere. This is episode number
18
of the Ask Jason Show. Don't I look handsome? I'm so well dressed today. I have lots of friends. Joe, are these in scene? Yeah? Okay. Got lots of friends. We're hanging out with Facebook Live, and we're also hanging out with, and you can see it right here, my good friend and YouTube blogger extraordinaire, Becki Peckham. Can you see her, guys? She's right in there. And we're going to talk today about, well, let's just ask it as a question. It's the Ask Jason Show. The question is it a good idea if you're a first-time home buyer to buy a home with the intention of renovating it? Like, is that an undertaking that is acceptable for first-time home buyers? I did this with my first home. However, I'm older than Beck, and it was a while ago when I did it. She did it much more recently, and so I'm diverting this question to her because she's kind of in that space, a design blog, bought a house, put a lot of effort into it, and is a bit of a YouTube sensation. I'll put links here. You need to follow her. You're really funny, and you do like the Newfoundland old lady voice, and I really enjoy that. So that's good.
She needs a name.
So I have actually 3 questions for you. I'm going to move Instagram over to you, or Facebook, sorry. Can we see here? There we go. So here are the questions. First, in buying and renovating your first property as a first-time home buyer, what was the easiest part?
The easiest part to buying and renovating the house was designing it, really. Like, even though that was like a little bit challenging compared to the rest of the process, designing the space was probably the easiest thing. Figuring out what the paint colors were, what type of furniture we wanted, what style we wanted to go with, that was probably the easiest thing.
So I'm gonna call that the soft skills, if you consider the execution of the work. But I guess that makes sense, being a bit of a design blogger, that kind of adds up for you. Okay, so for you that part was fun, I guess. Like challenging but fun, sense of accomplishment. You see the space come together and that adds up. Okay, hardest part?
The hardest part was the execution. In terms of rooms, I think our basement was really challenging because it was like hauling everything back to the studs. We had to put in insulation, vapor barrier. That Black Death stuff will be the death of me. The acoustic sealant is the worst. And then, we had drywall, plastering, subfloor, trim, like the whole deal. So that was pretty crazy. Also living through it, because we made the stupid decision to move in to our house. Worst idea, don't ever do it. So we moved in like the first night, tore out our kitchen the next morning, and then lived in absolute hell for 6 months while we tried to put our living room and our kitchen back together. It was brutal.
Yeah. So I have one more question that I told you I was going to ask ahead of time, and then I'm going to ask you one that I didn't tell you I was going to ask ahead of time.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready? So here's the one you knew was coming. What was the most surprising thing? What's the thing you didn't expect?
I didn't expect to be a victim of contractor fraud. That legit, like that's some legit shit.
Way to bring it down.
Yeah.
We were having fun. Fun. Thanks, Beck.
Sorry. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but it's the truth. It's something that you don't expect to happen to you. You see it happen on TV all the time. And you're like, oh, that's never going to happen. And, I watch a lot of HGTV, and I'm sure people who are into kind of home renovations probably do watch a lot of that. You go in expecting that you're going to need to do your roof, or that you're probably going to have a leak, or, you go in expecting to find problems. Anytime you renovate an old house, you're going to find something in the walls. But the biggest one was the contractor fraud. So basically what had happened was when we bought our house, the guy said, oh, you probably got 2 to 3 years left on your roof. We woke up one morning and there was a huge puddle on our living room floor. And so this had happened in the kitchen as well. And so we were like, oh my God, okay, so I guess it's time to get the roof replaced. So that kind of sucked. We called in a roofing company who somebody I knew had already worked with before. So we thought that they would be legit and everything would be fine. So they did our roof in a day. We paid them. I think it was about $5,000 plus the materials that we bought. And then a year later, we have water flowing into our kitchen again, and then into our living room, and then into our upstairs bedroom. And so we were like, what the hell is going on? So we send my uncle, who helped us with our renovation, like he was kind of like our go-to contractor guy. So we sent him up to have a look and see what was going on. So when he peeled back the shingles, there was no waterproofing membrane. And the wood underneath the shingles was starting to rot. So that really sucked. We tried reaching out to him. There was no answer. So this went on for like 2 or 3 years. So we just had to call in another company and get the roof redone again. Everything was pretty shagged up, we'll say.
Thanks for using the word shagged. And not because Mom might be watching. I don't know. You watching, Mom? Sometimes Mom watches. Yeah. But anyway.
I have a bit of a swearing problem, so I apologize.
Yeah, I do too. I try to keep it tame. I'm going to ask myself the same questions real quick. Really quickly. For me, the most fun part was actually shopping for the property. I wasn't a realtor at the time, so going out and looking for the place and being analytical about this cost plus these things, because I grew up in and around construction, like all my father, all of his brothers, my grandfather, they're all contractors. So that was fun for me, doing that part. The hardest part for me was admitting that though I grew up in it, I was not capable of doing it myself, and I had to pull back and hire somebody. That was the hardest part for me, admitting that I was not the guy. I could not do it, and that's coincidentally around the time I grew a beard. Like, I gotta be a man somehow. And what I did not expect, I didn't expect that houses that were built at that time, they'd fill the concrete foundation with like boulders. Now they just like mix in crushed stone and stuff, but it's like big old chunks. So I had to cut out a window through the concrete and had to get a concrete saw. I did not expect that. So that's what we did back then. And that's all that I have to say. Do you have anything you want to add?
Sorry for being such a downer about my roof issue. I'm happy now. It's all covered.
That is all for today. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming. And until next time.
On this episode, I'm taking over on the Ask Jason Show. The Ask Jason Show. Jason Piercey. And I'm on the Ask Jason Show. What up?